This is music, and this is the return of the summer of Simon. That's right, the summer of Simon is back. In this sub-series of the First Impressions series, I'm going to share with you my first impressions of the CDs in two massively generous VCLTs I was sent by none other than Mr. Wang himself, Simon from the Pie Face channel. If you like your extreme metal and if you like your physical music media collecting content in particular with a focus on CDs, that is your channel. Go and check it out. So I was fortunate enough that he sent me two massive boxes of CDs last year, 2024, and I finally had the time to listen to those CDs. And in this sub-series of the First Impressions series, I'm going to share my first impressions with you of those CDs and those VCLTs. And in this first episode, I actually have a lot of CDs to talk about, so we better get down to business. Up first, we have this one here. This is Barathrum Vitriol by Apsu. The cover artwork looks like this. I do have the Digipack stored safely somewhere else, so don't worry about that. Apsu, I think it's fair to say they are a very well-known black metal band, and this is definitely a black metal album with all the black metal trappings, like screechy vocals, super fast blasty drum beats, super fast guitar picking, a lot of atmosphere as well, and just evil all around. And it's really cool. The songs actually are great because they're so aggressive. So I think this is a great black metal album. What's interesting is that the production and the guitar tone give off early 90s death metal vibes. Kind of almost like the Morrisound vibe. And that means that there's an added dimension of brutality to the songs in this album. And I think that's what makes me really enjoy it. That kind of mix of black metal evil and early 90s death metal brutality. It's excellent. You have some live versions or live songs as bonus tracks on this edition of the album. And one of the songs is actually a live version of one of the songs on the album itself. And you can definitely hear in the live version that this is all out black metal, but it also kind of shows what a big difference something like the guitar tone can make. Excellent black metal album, in my opinion. From black metal to musicals. That's right, Andrew Lloyd Webber's The New Starlight Express. As far as I understand, this is a musical that tells the story of anthropomorphic railway trains from outer space that are engaged in some kind of competitive race. Sounds very strange. I've come across a lot of people who trash this one. But at the same time, as far as I understand, it's one of the longest running musical productions ever. So I guess a lot of people like it. So what we have on here is it's basically like musical songs, typical musical songs, and typical musical versions of contemporary popular music genres. And it's all very cheesy. So you do have a cheesy musical version of a rap song called The Rap. You have a bunch of cheesy musical versions of rock and roll songs, that sort of stuff. And you have some more typical musical uh, tunes as well. So this is something that maybe if you were around in the 90s, you can enjoy ironically. I was around in the 90s and I enjoy this very ironically to be sure. But in all honesty, there are actually some songs that I think are genuinely good. There's a song called AC/DC. It doesn't sound like AC/DC. I think it's an introductory song to one of the characters. And it sounds like a really cool, like early 80s kind of new wave song. I think that one is really cool. The rap, kind of funny, to be honest. There's another song called Papa's Blues, which is a cheesy musical version of a blues song. But I think it's very cool to hear kind of like blues and kind of soul-ish vocals in a musical. And there's a song called Right Place, Right Time, which I also think is very good. The only kind of songs that kind of annoy me are the kind of the race songs. So like race one, race two, race three. I don't think they offer anything to this version, like this just soundtrack version. But maybe they're probably integral to the musical itself. So yeah, I actually enjoyed this. Mostly ironic, but you did have some songs on here that I thought were actually pretty good. From musical music to Rise and Ruin, this is Night Storms, Hail Fire. And this is hardcore, very aggressive, kind of brutal hardcore, with really angry, shouted vocals, and a lot of kind of thrash metal elements as well, to the point that maybe some people would consider it crossover thrash. I don't know, I'm not the genre police, but I do really enjoy this one. I had a blast listening to this. And these guys, yeah, they use breakdowns, but they use hardcore breakdowns, not, in my opinion, your lame, or I should say, your typically lame metalcore and deathcore breakdowns. These breakdowns on here are hardcore breakdowns. Great album. Really enjoyed this one for sure. Up next, we have this one here, Barabbas, self-titled. I do have the Digipack stored somewhere else. The cover artwork looks like this. So this is some kind of sludge metal. The songs are kind of slow, and the guitar tone is kind of noisy, but it's not as noisy and sludgy as sludge metal typically is. It actually sounds a little bit dry and almost weak in a way. Maybe it's because it's not as noisy as what I'm used to in a lot of sludge metal. And the songs, while slow, are not as slow as what you hear in a lot of sludge metal. So maybe this is sludge light. This might be a good gateway album into sludge metal. I'm not the biggest sludge metal fan, but I can definitely hear that the songs themselves, just musically, they're actually pretty good. The vocals, the vocalist is kind of going for your kind of angry, shouty, harsh-esque sludge metal vocals, but his voice is just a little bit too bright for me, so he sounds more like a mildly irritated teenage boy. But apart from that, I think this is pretty good, for sure. Up next, we have this one here. This is, let's see, they have like a weird name. The Receiving End of Sirens, that's the band name, and it's called Between the Heart and the Synapse. So it looks like this. I wasn't quite sure what to make of this from just the cover artwork. Could be grindcore, could be metalcore, could be a lot of things. So I looked it up in Discogs and it said it was hardcore with experimental as well. And I don't hear any hardcore in this at all. I don't get where that comes from. But like I said, I'm not the genre police. To me, this is emo rock. And I do get the experimental part because you do actually have a lot of kind of details and stuff on here that I don't associate with emo. And it's also kind of progressively leaning. And musically, actually, the songs themselves, the compositions are pretty cool. Great, actually. The vocalist is going for kind of like your typical clean emo singing. So not screamo, but clean emo singing. And I don't know if he's going for a bit of a maybe Coheed and Cambria kind of vibe. The thing is, however, that I think it's Mario Sanchez. I think that's his name. I don't remember. From Coheed and Cambria has such a unique voice that it's great. And I think Coheed and Cambria, musically, even their early emo kind of era, I think that's really good music too. Like I said, the music on this is really good too, but the vocalist's voice, again, it also sounds like a mildly annoyed teenage boy. Bit of a shame because musically, this is really cool. Up next, we have this one here, Bloody Hell, The Bloodening. I would say straight up traditional heavy metal, maybe with a little bit more of an aggressive edge in places, maybe inspired by US power metal. But in other places, it sounds almost like hard rock. So it kind of spans that from hard rock to traditional heavy metal to kind of US metal. Some really good songs on here, actually. I think this is a super solid album from beginning to end with a lot of cool riffs and just like I said, cool songs that are well written and a nice aggressive guitar tone. Uh, the vocals at times are maybe uh, unintendedly funny, if you know what I mean. There are places where they make me snicker, just the singing style. Um, but for the most part, this is a really good album. I quite like this, so that was great. Up next, we have this one here. This is World Without End, Blood Works, and the cover artwork looks like this. But I actually do not have the digipack. It just came in this, and that's cool. So this is death metal with blackened vocals. But other than that, I would say it's straight up death metal. It's not too technical or too brutal or anything like that. It has some old school leanings for sure, but it also has like some kind of modern death metal leanings, maybe mildly inspired by Melodeath, but not a whole lot. So this is actually really cool. I enjoyed listening to this one, just like solid quality death metal. Sometimes that's all you need. Up next, we have this one here. This is Chaos God, and it's called uh, 3001. Looks like this on the back. And this is, I guess this is gothic rock meets electronica with, I guess, mild industrial leanings. And they sound like they're quite inspired by Depeche Mode. So in many ways, it's kind of a harder version of Depeche Mode, maybe coupled with kind of a Rammstein sound. And I would say again, this is a case where musically, most of the songs I think are actually pretty cool, very interesting, and kind of like dark electronica. But the vocals, I think, are pretty. It's not like the guy can't sing, but he's going for kind of a, I think, Peter Steele-esque baritone voice, and it just sounds like something out of a cartoon, if I'm being honest. Uh, yeah, the vocals, to be quite frank, are kind of laughable on this one, in my opinion. Hope I'm not offending anyone saying this, but it's still a pretty decent album and a very interesting listen because it's not something I kind of gravitate towards normally. Imagine a vocalist trying to sound like a cross between Peter Steele, the guy from Moonspell, and David Gann, uh, failing to do that. And then you have the vocals. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. Up next, we have this one here, Cockroach, and this is The Observer. This is thrash metal with kind of a modern production, but a lot of old school leanings. So, just great thrash metal from beginning to end. It's just like great riffs, great guitar parts, great energy. And one thing that's really cool is that they use a lot of grindcore elements. They kind of inject that into their thrash metal. So you got lots of blast beats and stuff, kind of like Collision. So I thought that it's really cool. I like this one. Just, angry, grindy, uh, blasty, but also super thrashy music. So if you like your straight up old school thrash metal and you don't mind an injection of grindcore into it, Check this out. This is great. I really like this. Up next, we have this one here, The Company, and it is called Awaking Under Dogs. Is what it's called. So this to me is groove metal, and actually it's pretty good groove metal. You got, kind of have like hardcore influences on here as well. You have some thrash metal, and you have your groove metal riffs. And I think the groove metal riffs, I think they're really good. We're not talking Dimebag level of brilliance here, but some pretty cool groovy riffs. Kind of, some of them are maybe a little bit new metal-esque, but just with a little bit more balls, if I'm being honest. And you have some really cool guitar solos and just lead guitar work on here. And I enjoy the thrashy parts as well. Um, so I think this is a really, really, really good groove metal album. The vocals are perhaps laughably macho on this, especially the kind of backing gang vocals. Um, yeah, they sound silly. They don't sound like, big, strong men with hairy chests. They just sound silly. Um, but that was I think, kind of a general issue with a lot of groove metal, that the vocals tended to be like overly uh, macho. Apart from that, I was very positively surprised by this one. This was really, really good. I mean, you can see, they have this kind of like, is it a is it a bull terrier? Some kind of, dangerous fighting dog. Although it really looks like it's just shaking its head. Actually, it looks kind of probably a very cute family dog, whatever. Uh, but they're trying to go for that macho thing, and the music itself maybe has it. I don't know, uh, but it's groovy, it's heavy, it's thrashy, and it's pretty good. The vocals, laughably macho. Up next, we have this one here, Devil Fire, and this is called Black Soul Vendetta. And this looks like thrash metal, but it's actually very melodic hard rock. It's really good. Don't get me wrong. I think this is really, really good, though. Uh, I just thought it might be thrash metal with this cover artwork. But it's melodic hard rock with some melodic heavy metal influences too. Um, really nice guitar work. Uh, pretty good vocals. Nothing out of the ordinary, but pretty good vocals. So this is really good music. I enjoyed listening to this. It was nice to have this on in the background. Uh, but it's that kind of music that you can have in the background and just enjoy it, or you can listen to it and kind of enjoy it, more mindfully, although it's not progressive or avant-garde or anything like that. It's straight up melodic hard rock, but it's good. And so we've had some death metal, we've had some black metal, we've had some thrash, we've had some groove metal. Let's finish this off with some K-pop. Yeah, that's right. Simon sent me this. I think it's like a luxury edition of Day 6 Moon Rise. I know nothing about K-pop at all. But, in the English degree program, I work as a university teacher and researcher in the English degree program at the University of Copenhagen. We have a lot of students who are fans of K-pop. And I actually asked one of the students if she knew uh, Day 6. And she said, oh, yeah, they're really good. They're more like rock than pop, actually. So I thought, okay, that sounds promising. And obviously, she thought it was really cool that I had some K-pop in my collection, especially Day 6, because apparently there's something like unique and special about them. So, okay, cool. So obviously, I gave this one a listen, and yeah, I would say it is kind of rock music. I mean, you got drums, you got bass, you got guitars. They're even, distorted every now and then. But I would say it's pop rock, through and through. Not a lot of hard rock here at all. You have some songs with some alternative rock leanings for sure, and I think those songs are actually pretty good. And these guys can sing too. They're really good singers. Uh, I like some of the voices better than others, for sure. But they're pretty good singers, and it's melodic pop rock, and the production is good. I think the songs individually, they're not bad. The problem I have is that this is basically like an album full of power ballads or pop rock ballads, right? I think maybe you got two or three songs that aren't really ballady. Um, but other than that, they're like ballads, and some of them are quite dark, and I think they are actually very good. But a lot of them are also kind of sappy. And I think an entire album full of mostly pop rock ballads, that's a little bit too much for me. So I think I think I'm gonna listen to a couple this album like a couple of songs at the time, and I think I'll enjoy them. And I'm probably gonna kind of skip through the ones that I think are too sappy. But yeah, very cool actually. Some K-pop. Why not? Um, yeah. So a whole bunch of CDs. I enjoyed the experience of listening to them all. Some of them have some elements that annoyed me, like the vocals in some songs, maybe too many ballads on this one, and so on and so forth. But overall, I had a blast listening to this stuff. So thanks to Simon for sending me those crazy VCLTs. I got more CDs from those VCLTs that I will follow up on in the next couple of episodes. That's why this is kind of a sub series. But for now, thanks for watching.